The placement of Mars in the first house of a natal chart is one of the most potent positions for the planet of action, desire, and survival. When the god of war sits in the house of self, the veil between an individual's internal impulses and their external reality is incredibly thin. This placement creates a personality that is defined by immediacy, physical presence, and an unrelenting drive to assert one's existence upon the world. The radiance of vitality and presence. Individuals with Mars in the first house possess a high-voltage physical energy that is often palpable to others. Because the first house represents the physical body and the mask we wear, Mars here grants a robust constitution and a restless need for movement. These people don't just enter a room, they penetrate it. There is an unmistakable me-first quality to their energy, not necessarily out of selfishness, but out of a primal, instinctive need to lead the charge. They are the cosmic pioneers, often possessing a competitive edge that makes them excel in sports, entrepreneurship, or any field that requires quick reflexes and courage. Temperament and the warrior archetype. The temperament of a first-house Mars is characterized by a fire-first, aim-later philosophy. Patience is rarely a virtue here. Instead, there is a profound honesty in their reactions. You always know where you stand with them because they lack the artifice to hide their frustrations. This can manifest as a quick temper, but it is usually a summer storm type of anger, intense, loud, and over as quickly as it began. They do not hold grudges as much as they simply run over obstacles. The shadow side of this energy is impulsivity. Without the grounding influence of Saturn or a well-placed Mercury, the individual may struggle with accidents or burnout because their output of energy often exceeds their physical capacity for recovery. Physicality and identity. Physically, Mars in the first house often leaves a mark. There may be a literal scar on the face or head, the area ruled by Aries and Mars, or a sharp, angular cast to the features. The eyes are usually piercing and alert. This placement suggests that the person's identity is intrinsically tied to their ability to do. They do not feel like themselves when they are stagnant. Consequently, their self-esteem is directly linked to their autonomy. If they are placed in a position where they must follow orders blindly or remain passive, they may become irritable, physically ill, or prone to acting out to reclaim their sense of power. Relationship dynamics and projection. In social settings, Mars in the first house can be polarizing. Their directness is refreshing to some but intimidating to others. They often act as a mirror for the hidden aggressions of people around them. Because they carry Mars so openly, they may find that people pick fights with them for no apparent reason. In truth, they are often unconsciously projecting a warrior stance that invites a challenge. In intimate relationships, they need a partner who can handle their intensity without being crushed by it, yet who also knows when to stand their ground. They respect strength and are often bored by total compliance. The evolutionary path. Ultimately, the journey for someone with Mars in the first house is about the conscious refinement of will. In early life, this energy is often raw and disruptive, leading to unnecessary conflicts and a trail of half-finished projects fueled by fleeting bursts of adrenaline. As they mature, the goal is to transform blind impulse into directed intent. When these individuals learn to channel their massive reservoir of energy toward a singular, constructive purpose, they become unstoppable. They are the ones who defend the weak, break through glass ceilings, and possess the sheer grit to start over from scratch whenever life demands a rebirth. Their life is an ongoing exercise in the courage to be exactly who they are, without apology. When Mars occupies the first house, the sign it inhabits acts as the flavor of the individual's willpower. It dictates how they assert themselves and the specific energy they project into the world. Fire signs, the burn. Aries, this is Mars in its home territory. The personality is exceptionally direct, courageous, and pioneering. There is zero lag time between thought and action, often leading to a warrior persona that is both inspiring and intimidating. Leo, assertiveness is tied to pride and creativity. These individuals lead with a theatrical, golden energy. They demand respect and often express their will through leadership or the arts, needing to be seen as the hero of their own story. Sagittarius, movement is directed toward expansion and truth. This creates a restless, adventurous spirit that fights for beliefs and freedom. They assert themselves through philosophical debate or physical travel, often with a crusader vibe. Earth signs, the build. Taurus, persistence is the defining trait. Mars here is slower to start, but once they move, they are like a steamroller. The drive is focused on material security and sensory pleasure. They don't just act, they build something that lasts. Virgo, energy is channeled into precision and problem solving. This is the craftsman placement. They assert themselves through being useful and efficient, often possessing a nervous, high-strung energy dedicated to perfection. Capricorn, Mars is exalted here, meaning it functions at its highest strategic level. This is the general. Action is disciplined, cold, and calculated. They have the endurance to climb the longest mountains to achieve status and authority. Air signs, the breeze. Gemini, the will is expressed through words and intellect. These individuals are extremely fast-paced and versatile but can be prone to scattered energy. They fight with wit, debate, and information rather than physical force. Libra, here, Mars is in detriment, meaning the drive for harmony conflicts with the planet's aggressive nature. They assert themselves through charm, diplomacy, or social justice, often struggling with indecision because they want to win without making enemies. Aquarius, the drive is for independence and social progress. This is the rebel placement. They assert themselves in unconventional ways, fighting for the collective or for their right to be unique, often possessing an unpredictable or eccentric energy. Water signs, the flow. Cancer, Mars is in fall here, as its fiery nature is dampened by the sign of the moon. Energy is defensive and protective. They act based on their moods and are fiercely loyal to their own, fighting like a mother bear if their home or family is threatened. Scorpio, Mars is the traditional ruler here, creating a silent but incredibly intense drive. This is stealth energy. They don't broadcast their moves, they wait for the perfect moment to strike with surgical precision. The will is focused on transformation and power. Pisces, action is guided by intuition and empathy. The drive is often diffused or spiritual. They may struggle with traditional assertion, instead using passive strength or artistic expression to navigate the world. They fight for the underdog or for a dream. The transit of Mars through the first house is akin to a cosmic shot of adrenaline directly into the ego and the physical body. Lasting roughly 6 to 8 weeks, unless a retrograde period extends the stay, this transit marks a period of heightened self-assertion, increased physical vitality, and a restless need to initiate change. While a natal placement represents a permanent personality trait, the transit is a temporary phase that demands you step into the role of the protagonist in your own life. The awakening of the will. When Mars crosses the ascendant and enters the first house, the waiting period of the 12th house ends. If the previous weeks felt like wandering through a fog or dealing with behind-the-scenes complications, this transit acts as a clearing of the air. You suddenly feel a renewed sense of I am. This is the best time to start new projects, launch personal initiatives, or overhaul your physical appearance. Your courage is at a peak, and the hesitation that usually holds you back from asking for what you want, or simply taking it, tends to vanish. Physical energy and the risk of burnout. During this transit, your physical body becomes a vessel for high-voltage energy. You may find yourself needing less sleep or feeling a sudden urge to hit the gym, start a rigorous sport, or engage in manual labor. However, because Mars is the planet of heat and friction, this surge can be a double-edged sword. If this energy isn't given a constructive physical outlet, it can manifest as physical accidents. Mars rules sharp objects, heat, and speed. Being in a rush during this transit often leads to minor burns, cuts, or trips and falls. Inflammation. On a health level, this transit can coincide with fevers, headaches, or inflammatory responses as the body literally heats up. Restlessness. A feeling of being on edge or wired is common, making it difficult to relax or sit still. Social friction and directness. Your social mask becomes considerably sharper during this time. You are less likely to tolerate delays, incompetence, or being told what to do. While this makes you an effective leader, it also makes you more prone to me-first behavior. People may perceive you as more aggressive or confrontational than usual, even if you feel you are simply being direct. Because the first house sits directly across from the seventh house of partnerships, this Mars energy aspects your relationships. Your sudden need for autonomy can trigger conflicts with partners who are used to a more cooperative version of you. The key during this transit is to use your increased confidence to tackle challenges together rather than turning your partner into the opponent. The call to action. The primary lesson of Mars transiting the first house is conscious agency. It is a reminder that you have the power to alter your circumstances through sheer force of will. The universe is effectively handing you a sword. The challenge lies in deciding whether to use it to clear a path forward or to simply swing it at whatever irritates you. To navigate this transit successfully, prioritize physical movement to burn off excess steam before it turns into anger. Count to 10 before responding to perceived slights, as your trigger finger is extra sensitive right now. Initiate. Don't wait for permission to start that project you've been dreaming about. This is your window of maximum momentum. Subscribe, like, and share.